Venus, fresh from the retrograde, returns to Aries on Wednesday, April 30th. Here, the goddess of love will stay until June 6th, encouraging you to prioritize yourself, take romantic risks, and date independent, fiery people. I'm here to break this transit down and give you dating and relationship tips for all 12 signs. My name is Anastasia. I'm a traditional Western astrologer specializing in natal, relationship, and predictive readings. If you enjoy my work, I would really appreciate if you leave me the like, the comment, subscribe, and press the notification bell. Watch more of my videos. That's how YouTube algorithm knows to show more, to send more audience my way, helps me grow. You can also say thank you by buying me a tea, a coffee, a croissant, any token of appreciation. I am very thankful for that. I have a couple of announcements. If you're looking for personal guidance, visit anastasiadoesastrology.com. There is a variety of readings dedicated to looking at your natal chart, looking at your future, year to come. Solar return is really great to do close to your birthday. Relationship consultation can help you figure out romantic issues you're struggling with. I can also look at your astrocartography to help you figure out the best place in the world you should move to and help you elect an important date for your wedding. All of that is at anastasiadoesastrology.com. On there, you can also sign up to join my Natal Astrology Blueprint of the Soul course. A lot of people believe in astrology, but only a select few can use astrology to their benefit, to make their life better, to live more authentically, and to find success and abundance. Become one of those select few by signing up to join my course. We begin in September and it lasts 3 months. More information in the description, also on my website. I'd like to highlight my Venus in Taurus candle. This one is a beautiful pink color. It's decorated with rose quartz crystals and it captures Venus in the sign of rulership, Taurus, which is one of Venusian domiciles. If you're born with this, lucky you. But the rest of us can use a little bit of magnetic, charming, sensual, great at drawing the objects of her desires to her. Highly recommend this for anyone who wants better, easier, happier relationships. If you want to attract abundance, Taurus is known for its focus on material stability. If you want to create lucky opportunities for yourself and creative opportunities as well. Astrologically, this is the candle for anyone born with their Venus in Aries, Venus in Virgo or Scorpio, which are the signs of detriment and fall. Venus in the 6th, 8th, or 12th houses if you're born with Venus retrograde, or if your Venus makes aspects to Saturn. That would be my choice for you. So Venus comes back to Aries. This is one more time Venus is in Aries. Previously, she was in Aries from February 4th until March 27th. She went retrograde on March 1st. Moving from 10 degrees 15 minutes of Aries till 24 degrees 37 minutes of Pisces. Right now, she's coming back on April 30th and stays in Aries until June 6th. So if you have any planets between 0 and 11 degrees, Aries, Libra, Cancer, and Capricorn, this is the final hurrah. And it can actually bring some kind of completion, rewards, and lucky possibilities into your life. Venus is in her detriment in Aries, meaning that she struggles in Aries. That's why I recommend a candle as a remediation measure, because we're getting a month and a half of Venus in Aries, right? So we could use a little bit of goodness, sensual, slow, stable energy. She's in detriment because Aries is a masculine, Mars-ruled sign. It's the sign of action. It's the sign of independence. It's the sign of risk-taking. It's the sign of not caring what other people think. No wonder the planet of love and connection struggles in the sign of Aries a little bit, right? Because in order to have kind of happy relationships, Venus rules the sign opposite Aries, Libra, which is very other people oriented, very much diplomatic and charming. So it becomes harder for us when Venus is in Aries to maintain peace and balance, because we're so aware of what we want and what's important to us that we're more willing to take on a fight. We're more willing to pick up and leave if things don't go according to plan. So I would encourage you to move a little slowly when Venus is in Aries, to avoid cutting relationships, avoid being too competitive in your relationships. Maybe think twice before saying things as they are, right? Sometimes we might be too blunt with Venus in Aries. There's no sugarcoating, and a little bit of sugar can be good. She said as she had a candy right next to her. So like you want to make sure you're not too harsh. You want to make sure that you're like, you can smooth out the rough edges. What is this Venus really good for? It's really good for being active with your partner. So going on dates that involve rock climbing, that involve hiking, that involve whitewater rafting, bungee jumping, scuba diving. Scuba diving. What's the one where you dive from the up with a parachute? Parachute? I know in Russian we just say it прыжок с парашютом, but I don't know what is it. Skydiving. Yeah. Scuba diving, skydiving. Anyways, that was like a brain freeze moment. So active dates, dating people that maybe you wouldn't normally go for because you're more willing to give them a chance. Competing in some kind of healthy competition, like express that energy through a healthy competition. It could be a great energy for making art that expresses feminine, like talking about female related issues through art. For example, if you want to express sort of, something about female body and the lack of control sometimes we have over our own bodies, and like finding sort of beauty through these difficult topics, like expressing difficult topics with beauty. Venus in Aries, I always think of like the biggest sort of advocate for women and womanhood, and like she's this passionate Xena the warrior. She's, unafraid, brave, courageous. So it's a really lovely placement for that. Taking risks in the bedroom, trying new things, right? Venus in Aries will be down for it in a heartbeat. She's definitely not afraid. You may notice that you have more courage. You are more willing to seduce. We're also going to have Venus. When Venus is in Aries, she's going to be trining Mars. Let me tell you the exact date because I don't think I wrote it down for myself. But it's one of the May transits, one of the lovely May transits. Venus trines Mars on May 22nd. So this will be the third and the last Venus-Mars trine, but they haven't really trined in Aries and Leo before. It was always Pisces and Cancer. So there's this kind of beautiful, passionate energy with Mars ruling Venus, being in Leo. You have this, I want to put on a show, I want to experiment in the bedroom, I want to play dress up, I want to role play, right? Like there's just sort of kind of more experimental energy. You may also think of like famous Venus in Aries, and that is Lady Gaga and her style, right? Her ability to bring sort of raw martial things like her meat outfit and turn that into fashion. Because if you're born with Venus in Aries, happy Venus return, by the way. Again, second time, or the third time rather. Especially if it's like, if your Venus is in early degrees of Aries, then you would have already had two Venus conjunctions. But yeah, like if this is your Venus return, I forgot where I was going with this. Forgive me. But like it's good. It's your Venus return, so you may notice similar themes coming up. It's a great time to kind of like treat yourself. If you're born with Venus in Aries, you may already have this sort of natural ability to have a unique style, to maybe unite the war, or like the feisty sort of. I feel like, I can also see like when Venus is in Aries, or if you're born with Venus in Aries, I can see like liking sort of maybe masculine, because Mars is more masculine energy, right? Aries is a young masculine sign. Maybe using like leather, or using sharp like belt buckles or some kind of like army gear. So we may notice that our style gets kind of influenced by that. So let's take a look at the 12 signs and see what this might be bringing up for you. Again, recommend Venus and Taurus because this is a little bit more like slow, steady, seductive, less drama, more pleasure type energy. Find it at anastasiadoesastrology.com and also book a reading on there. If you are an Aries rising, Venus is coming back into your first house, bringing back the topics from March, even February, because Venus has been in Aries previously between February 4th, March 27th. Venus in the first house is a lot of charm, a sign of charm, personal charm. You are maybe more willing to dress up. You're more willing to go out, to see and be seen. You're maybe manifesting and attracting more. Venus rules your second house of money and she rules your seventh house of relationships. And when she's in your first house, it's easier to draw those things to you. It's almost like they're in your first house. They're like in your house, right? So others might be approaching you. There may be more romance in your life. It's like easier to manifest romance. However, watch out for being too blunt. Watch out for going people that pose a challenge and maybe don't create stability in your life. Try to make healthier choices. Experiment with style, 100%. Experiment with dating. Just beware of the more kind of negative tendency of Venus in Aries to be like too competitive, combative, and dramatic. I would really recommend my Venus and Taurus candle because this is the opposite energy on many levels. It's very sensual, slow, also really good at manifesting, but doesn't create drama in the process. Find it at anastasiadoesastrology.com and you can also book a reading on there and sign up for my natal astrology course. If you are a beautiful Taurus rising, Venus is entering your 12th house, reminding you, bringing back the themes from February, March 2025, when Venus first entered Aries and then began its retrograde. This could be your final opportunity to sort of clear your life of toxic relationships. Venus in the 12th makes you more aware of your self-defeating tendencies, of the choices you're making that maybe do not serve you. It can encourage you to say no to some of those people, especially if you've been dealing with some back and forward during the retrograde between March 1st and April 12th. It's a lovely time to get away, to go on a trip and be active with your partner. It could be a great time to work in solitude on a project. Maybe you're building your website or you're writing your book or you're designing a cover for your notebook that you're creating. It could be kind of like really lovely for solitude and for working in solitude. On the negative, there is that tendency to date people that are challenging and dramatic and exciting, but maybe very destabilizing and stress producing in your life. Going for people that are committed already, that are unavailable. My choice for this next month and a half is Venus and Taurus. It's really, really good for you as Taurus rising because it falls in your first house and it's Venus in her home sign. So she's sensual, she's magnetic, she's great at manifesting. This candle is perfect for you. Find it at anastasiadoesastrology.com and book a reading on there. Your personal reading to learn what's coming up for you or how to make your relationship better, or even discover your strength and karmic purpose. If you are a beautiful Gemini rising, Venus is returning to your 11th house. She's been in your 11th house in February, March, most of February and March, and now she's coming back. You maybe dealt with a lack of motivation. You maybe felt a little confused in terms of your dreams. There could have been some friendship drama or a lack of clarity. Maybe people just being more irritating, more aggravating. You may have started dating a friend or started to feel something from a friend, but perhaps there wasn't a ton of clarity. Now that Venus is back, she can speed things along, right? It is a really good time to collaborate with friends. It is a good time to date a friend. start creative projects with friends, bring your community or your knowledge of community or your care of community into your life, and maybe work on projects that serve the world, make the world better. You may find yourself gravitating towards people that are more ambitious and go-getters and masculine and sort of feisty, right? Because those people are more likely to inspire you and ignite the courage and the fire within you. And yeah, in terms of dating, you can meet the person at a wedding, at a networking event, at a friend's party. A friend might introduce you to someone. So put yourself out there. Tell your friends that you're looking, if you're looking, and you'll be surprised. If you need additional help romantically, my exalted Venus could be really, really good for you and good for the next month or so. This is also very helpful professionally because it highlights your 10th house of career status and reputation. Just watch out for the usual side effects of this transit, and that is being too combative, too blunt, too competitive, too maybe this person, the first date was boring, so I'm just going to cut them off. If there is something that you liked about this person, don't judge them based on like the first date, because sometimes we don't perform our best on the first dates. So try to maybe be a little bit like slower if you can. For more guidance, visit anastasiadoesastrology.com, book your reading on there, and sign up for Natal Astrology Blueprint of the Soul course as well. It begins in September. If you are a beautiful Cancer rising, Venus is entering your 10th house of career status and reputation. Venus has been in Aries before in February and March. She went retrograde on March 1st, so there could have been some uncertainty professionally. A lack of inspiration, miscommunications, maybe a project, a contract you signed, but then the person pulled out and your sort of reliance on the partnership fell through. Now that Venus is back there and she's now direct and she's starting to move faster and faster, this can offer you new exciting partnerships and new opportunities. You are very driven to have creative freedom. You are driven to do work that is joyful, that is fun and pleasurable, and not just have a job. So this could be like a very inspirational transit, I think. I like it. You may find yourself being a little bit too competitive with bosses, so watch out for that. And dating someone you're working with, I can see as a possibility as well. They don't have to work in the exact same like business as you are, is exact same place, but maybe they deliver snacks for you, or they're your pen supplier or something. I highly recommend my Venus and Taurus candle for this next month because Venus in Aries is in her detriment. So while she will encourage some action, you really have to be careful that you don't kind of push too hard, be too blunt, act too sort of like nonchalant, versus Venus in Taurus is Venus in rulership, very slow and steady, magnetic, attractive, and good at manifesting. So enjoy this transit. Just like I said, watch out for a little bit of the downside of it. To learn more, book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com and sign up for my course on there too. For the beautiful Leo rising, Venus is entering your 9th house of education, travel, writing, publishing, legal matters. She's been here before. She went into Aries. She entered Aries in February. She went retrograde on March 1st. So you could have felt a burst of inspiration back in February. Maybe a new idea, a new writing project, or a new travel plan, or a new opportunity in education if you work in education or if you're considering studying. But then she went retrograde and you maybe realize that things are not as simple. You have some debts you first have to pay off. You have to deal with some other considerations. So things stalled, right? At the beginning of the year, it was all like red flags all over the place. And please share if you've experienced anything like that. But now she's back. Guess who's back? Back again. So Venus is back. Call a friend. Okay, I'm gonna stop, but even though in my head it keeps going. So she's back there and she's ready to take action. So this is a great time to write. This is a great time to apply for visas, to travel or make travel plans, to study a foreign language. So it's interesting. I have a Leo rising friend who was my friend on Duolingo, but then Venus went retrograde and she disappeared from Duolingo. And that's like a very literal, like Venus disappeared, went backwards, and the friend disappeared from Duolingo. If you're watching it, add me back on Duolingo. I'd like to use this platform to handle my Duolingo friendships. That is really why I'm here for. No, it's not. But anyways, it gives you energy to like express yourself, to go out there, to take risks, to adventure. Romantically, you may be dating foreign people, you may be traveling to see your romantic interest, you may be traveling and meeting people, or you're meeting them in school, you're meeting them at a foreign exchange program, foreign language class. So it's a really potent transit. If you'd like to make it even better, Venus and Taurus could be a really great remedy for the more negative parts of this transit, because Venus is in her detriment in Aries. So you may be meeting people, but they might not be following through, right? Like you go on a date with someone and they don't act the way you'd like them to. So Venus and Taurus, candle or oil, is Venus in the sign of rulership. It's a lot more stable and it's a lot more sort of, better at like attracting things that are good for you. Highly recommended for the next month. And yeah, use this transit to write, to sort of adventure, to play, let yourself have fun. Just make sure you're not too blunt, too competitive, too unapologetic when it comes to times when you're wrong, because sometimes Venus and Aries might be like, no, it's never me, it's always you. Learn more by booking a reading on my website and sign up for Natal Astrology, my Natal Astrology course. It begins in September and it can help you move your astrological knowledge to the next level. For the beautiful Virgo rising, Venus is returning to your 8th house. So she entered Aries back in February. She went retrograde in March. And you maybe dealt with some financial matters. You maybe dealt with some partnerships that fell through, or you had to renegotiate something. There could have been insurance matters, inheritance matters that needed your attention. Now that Venus is back here, all of those issues are more likely to smooth out, to iron out. She can help you negotiate. She can help you get along with other people, sort of handle all like student loans, insurance, inheritance, those kind of matters. Romantically, you may be finding yourself dating people that have like unique working hours or unique job situation. Maybe their job requires them to be really calm under pressure, like firefighters or emergency room surgeons and things like that. You may also notice that your interest in spiritual, esoteric, mysterious things is getting heightened, which could be quite inspirational, I think, for some people. The challenge of Venus in Aries sometimes lies in being too like competitive, combative, blunt. So watch out for that. If you're seeking additional help, Venus and Taurus is my choice for remediating this transit. It's a lot calmer, stable, better at manifesting, better at holding on to things that it has manifested. Find it at anastasiadoesastrology.com. On there, you can also book a reading and sign up for my Natal Astrology course to join me in September. For the beautiful Libra rising, Venus is re-entering your 7th house. How have the last 2 months been for you? 3 months, February, March, April. Because Venus has gone into Aries in February, it went retrograde in March, and now it's coming back around. So maybe there were some adjustments in your relationships. Maybe there were some changes in your business or changes in your professional life with Mars ruling this Venus being in the 10th house. Some sort of turnarounds, delays, confusion is common with Venus retrograde. Now that she's back here and she's direct, she will offer you a chance to solidify the matters that you've been addressing in the last couple of months. Let's say you met someone in February, right? And then you went on a date or even a couple of dates and everything seemed to be going fine. And then Venus went retrograde in March and the person disappeared. They just stopped answering or they sort of slowly fell off your radar. Now that Venus is coming back and she's direct, you may hear back from this person and they may have a perfectly valid reason why they disappeared. Or you hear back from them and you realize that they don't fit your expectations. They don't have the same values. They don't value being direct with you and updating you on their whereabouts, right? It's normal for them to disappear. So some forward momentum in relationships, honestly, any partnerships. If you've been thinking of hiring some help cleaning your house, maybe you finally find the right person. If you've been thinking about your work partnerships, this could also suggest entering a marriage of some sort. In general, Venus in the 7th house is really good for dating. It's really good for negotiating and partnering. However, she's in her detriment in Aries. That's why I would recommend my Venus in Taurus or my Venus in Libra, even better candle for you guys, because Venus being in detriment in Aries might suggest being too competitive, too combative in relationships, just saying it as it is, not caring how it might hurt people's feelings. There might be a tendency to attract people that are too independent and sort of too unapologetic and like sort of very maybe inspirational. Maybe they're very ambitious and tomboyish and masculine if that's what you're going for, which you might as a Libra rising, but maybe kind of too far in that regard and too self-absorbed. So using like a healthy Venusian energy like Venus in Taurus or Venus in Libra could be a good remedy for this next month or so. But enjoy it, date, tell me how it goes. And if you're looking for more guidance, visit anastasia.astrology.com. I'd be happy to look at your natal chart, talk about your year coming up, your relationship, and more. For the beautiful Scorpio rising, Venus is entering your 6th house. Venus entered your 6th house in February, went retrograde in March, and now she's back in your 6th house. So there could have been some professional matters that were starting up and then needed to be reviewed. Maybe some health matters in your life or the life of your spouse, the life of your child that needed to be adjusted. Maybe a project, right? Like you have an attic that is full of your parents' or your grandparents' things. And so you've been gearing up to clean it out, but then something happened and you forgot about it. So now Venus is back. She's full of energy. She's going to give you the stamina, the drive to make improvements. So you may notice that you're exercising more, you're eating healthier, you're maybe focusing more on decluttering your space professionally. You're more charming when you're problem solving. It's not the easiest Venus. She's in her detriment in Aries, so she might attract a little bit of drama, a little bit of friction. Watch out for being too blunt. Watch out for being too kind of combative, my way or the highway. Or you may be dealing with people who are like that, right? Like Venus rules your house of relationships. So to avoid relationship drama, I really recommend my Venus in Taurus candle. This one captures Venus in rulership. It falls in your 7th house. It's the most charming Venus, really good for peace and abundance, creativity, imagination, and relationships. So pick one up. And try to focus on the positives. Some other positives might be dating a colleague. Of course, that's a tricky one. People will not always agree whether dating a colleague is a good idea or not. But, like collaborating with other people, dating people you work with, being more innovative. Aries is the sign. It's the first sign. It's the courageous sign. It's happy to try things a different way. So you're maybe more innovative, more open-minded, and it makes it easier to take care of health, to help other people, to come up with new ideas for the work that you want to be doing. For more guidance, visit anastasiadoesastrology.com and book a reading on there. You can also sign up for my Natal Astrology Blueprint of the Soul course. It begins in September, and it can be just the ticket to a deeper understanding of astrology, becoming an astrologer, or living life in attunement with the stars so that you are more successful and you attract things that are right for you. For the beautiful Sagittarius rising, Venus is entering Aries, rather re-entering Aries. She's already been in your 5th house in Aries in February, and she went retrograde in March. So this is your house of romance, pleasure, parenthood, and children. And Venus going direct, then turning back around, then coming back direct suggests that there's been a need for some kind of fine-tunement, readjustment, rethinking, right? Maybe you've dealt with some romantic frustration, said goodbye to a relationship, then welcomed it back into your life. Now that Venus is direct, you finally know what you want to do, whether you want to say goodbye to a person or commit to a relationship. That will depend on each individual situation. There could have been some kind of matter that needed attention with your child, maybe their school, maybe their health, maybe something involving parenthood, right? Like you needed to get checked out and maybe test your health and things like that. Creative projects could have also undergone some kind of revision. Now that Venus is back and she's direct, it gives you that much more clarity and that much more motivation to get things done. So romantically, it can bring more passion, more enthusiasm for each other, a sense of renewal in your relationship, new dating opportunities, right? Especially dating people who are fun, creative, playful, childlike, exuberant, and inspirational to you. You're maybe picking up old passions, going out dancing, painting, if that's something you like to do. You may be feeling more childlike and experiencing more clarity when it comes to your children, right? Finally figure out the school you want to send your child to and things like that. Just watch out for the more negative sides of this transit. I would really recommend my Exalted Venus candle for you guys, because this is a more peaceful, more loving Venus, and look how beautiful this is. It's green with aquamarine stones, and I only have 3 left. These are almost out, so really recommend. But watch out for the more negative sides, which are being too competitive, too blunt, too opinionated. It's great to be opinionated, but like sometimes, you know, you got to pick your battles. You got to make sure that you're not like going 15 rounds on something that really doesn't matter to you just because you're too stubborn to like let it go. And be careful for choosing partners that are more trouble than they're worth. To learn more, book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com and sign up for my Natal Astrology course to level up your knowledge and level up your life. For Capricorn rising, Venus is entering your 4th house. So Venus entered Aries, your 4th house, in February. She went retrograde in March, and now she's back. Maybe you started making improvements to your home. You started painting the wall, or you started like building a pool, only to realize that you're not allowed and you need to get a permit. So progress slowed down. Maybe you were planning to have your mother move in with you to help you with your child, only to realize that your brother needs your mom more right now and she cannot move. So some kind of turnaround, slow down, delay could have happened in the matters of home, family, real estate. Now that Venus is back and she's direct, things are finally speeding up. They're finally moving forward. You can expect more opportunities to beautify your home, to improve your living situation in small, subtle, or big, dramatic ways, right? Like buying a property or finishing that painting job or building a pool, connecting with family members, being active with family members, discussing the past, feeling a little bit more nostalgic. Romantically, this might suggest more dates indoors, more romance, but behind closed doors. It might also suggest dating people from your hometown. Dating people, like just today, I met this woman who works in real estate, and her partner works in real estate. Like, so she met him at the job, but the ruler of her 7th house is in the 4th, and that's the job that involves real estate, right? So it's like work, but also property, real estate, 4th house. So meeting people like who are your real estate agents, or you meet them at a realtor's office, or you meet them while house hunting, or they're like friends of your parents, or they're child of your parents' friends, something like that. So in general, I think this could be great for like taking action when it comes to home and family. However, Venus is in her detriment in Aries, so you may notice that you're maybe choosing romantic interests that are not great for you, that are exciting but very unstable. And for that, I would really recommend my Venus in Taurus candle. It's Venus in the sign of rulership. It falls in your 5th house of romance and pleasure. And it's really good for attracting the right person and sort of creating abundance in your life, especially for you guys, Capricorn risings. So yeah, be kind of careful with the more challenging sides of this transit, and try to take risks and do kind of fun, creative projects, but don't go for fun, unstable people. To learn more, book a reading at anastasiaastrology.com, and you can also join my natal astrology course on there. It begins in September, and it offers you a chance to level up your knowledge of astrology and level up your life in the process. For the beautiful Aquarius rising, Venus is entering your 3rd house, the house of communication, community, siblings, neighbors, schedule, skills, hobbies, everyday sort of routine, everyday flow, things you do, people you meet. Venus has been here before. She entered Aries in February. She went retrograde in March. There could have been some kind of adjustment you needed to make to your life. Maybe you had to rethink your schedule. Maybe you had to revisit your business, track down some of the old clients, deal with some kind of financial matters, rethink some investments, maybe take some exams that you needed in order to be more like sort of free professionally. Whatever it was, now Venus is direct, she's free, and she brings forward momentum. So if you've been wondering how to best use your knowledge, Venus comes here and she gives you an idea to start a blog or to start a YouTube channel. You've been dealing with some kind of miscommunication, confusion with siblings or neighbors. Venus comes here. Venus is direct now. You understand it. You talk to them. You figure things out. They move out and you're happy. Or, you start a podcast together if you've been planning to collaborate together. Venus here can be a really great source of ideas. She can be romantic. She can inspire you to date neighbors or to date someone you meet at a local coffee shop. She can boost your creativity. Of course, there is a bit of a challenge to Venus being in the sign of her detriment. That's why my choice this month is Venus in Taurus, because it's Venus in rulership, kind of the opposite energy. She's really good at manifesting things that create stability and abundance, and really good for relationships. Because with Venus being in Aries, you may find yourself maybe choosing relationships that are exciting, but lack stability, lack sort of trust on some level as well, and lack like support and love that you're seeking. So watch out for that. Watch out for being too competitive, too blunt, too harsh, and too fast to kind of cut people off if they upset you. Just sort of weigh pros and cons, I guess, and do not make harsh, rushed decisions. If you're looking for more, book a reading at anastasiaastrology.com and sign up for my natal astrology course to join me and other astrology lovers in September to level up your knowledge of astrology and level up your life. For my beautiful Pisces rising, Venus is entering Aries, which is your 2nd house. Venus entered your 2nd house of money and values in February. She went retrograde in March, retraced her steps, and now she's coming back to Aries on April 30th to stay until June 6th. So there could have been some financial questions. Maybe you've been trying to pay off a debt. Maybe you've been thinking of opening another credit card. Maybe you've been looking at a Roth IRA account or 401k options. But chances are something distracted you, right? Like Venus stationed retrograde, she had to go back to the first house. So maybe you dealt with like identity crisis, or you dealt with health issues or something else, right? Like your plan to kind of create stability and abundance in your life did not fully work out. Now that Venus is direct and she's back in your second house, you feel more clear. You are doing that research, you're taking that action, you're making those investments, you're starting those accounts, you're maybe opening credit cards. Be careful, don't rack up more debt. Neptune is in your in the second house, so you want to be like really sort of discerning. If you need help with finances, by the way, exalted Mars is the candle that is really great for that, because your second house of money is Aries and it's ruled by Mars, and Mars in Capricorn is very strategic, very sort of savvy and good at finding deals, good at working within the rules of the system. So this is my choice. I've been promoting Venus in Taurus, which is also great, but I think for you guys, exalted Mars is just the choice, especially with the transits we're in right now. You can find it in my shop, Anastasia.astrology.com, candle shop. But yeah, so Venus in Aries, like I said, could be the time of forward momentum. It could also be the time when you're a little bit more indulgent, you're spending more money on yourself, or you're spending money on love, on your significant other, just being kind of more generous. So that is good, but also kind of be maybe slow and steady with your spendings. Romantically, this might suggest attracting people who are independent, self-reliant. Maybe they work in finance, or they work at a bank, which is also kind of finance. Maybe it's someone you meet while at a bank. So money equals love on some level during this period. If you're seeking more guidance, visit Anastasia.astrology.com to book your reading, pick up my Exalted Mars candle, and join my natal astrology course. We begin in September. Level up your knowledge of astrology to level up your life and make better choices. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. I hope your May is going to be awesome. I hope your April was really good. If you have anything to share, any ideas, let me know. I've also started doing YouTube lives, so you can also catch me live and say hello and chat with me on there. Anyways, enjoy. Thank you for being here. Bye.